Right, if you just joined us or you're still with us, it's still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's take our main conversation for today. Detained leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has urged those clamoring for his release not to beg for it, asserting that his agitation for self-determination is a constitutionally protected right and not a crime. Speaking through his lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, Kanu emphasized that his release is a matter of compliance with existing court orders, not an issue of presidential pardon or clemency. Ejimako, in a press statement, said Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is adamant that nobody should plead or beg anybody on his behalf because he has committed no crime. Self-determination, which is the real issue that got twisted to suddenly become a high crime, is an inalienable right guaranteed under Nigerian law, the United Nations, the United Kingdom, and Kenya. The perverse and unlawful criminalization of his rights should not be encouraged through misguided appeals for pardon or clemency. Releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not an act of mercy, but a matter of abiding by the rule of law. Kanu expressed appreciation for those genuinely committed to restoring peace in Igbo land, while cautioning that appeals for pardon might be misconstrued as legitimizing executive or judicial violation of his rights. We still have with us Barrister Vance Feli. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for hanging on.
Very well.
Beautiful. Now, speak to us. It's been lingering for a very long time. But what do you think is the real issue that is keeping Nnamdi Kanu still held with the correctional services, the EFCC or the DSS? What is the problem exactly?
There's no issue keeping him. The federal government is the one keeping him. The federal government have no case whatsoever. The courts, have made several orders. Okay, that Nnamdi Kanu be released. I don't know why the federal government is adamant about it. And I think this is one of the ways through which we run down this country. Where foreign investors will be looking at this country disobeying court order. This nonchalant display of the disobedience of court order was instigated by the former President Buhari, who is neither a Democrat nor whatever it is he is. He's the one that created this problem where the court, including the ECOWAS court, had, gave an order then that Sambo Dasuki be released and others. He refused to release them up until 1 year after and the rest of that. So the executive have no right under our law to determine, who should be released or not after the judiciary have made a pronouncement to that effect. And I find this very disconcerting. Now, people are going about to beg the president to plead and all that, acting like Nnamdi Kanu committed a lot of crimes and the rest of that. What is his offense exactly? What offense did he commit? Okay, the federal government have amended charges upon charges on charges, and made expression through a charge that he made certain expressions from the UK. The Nigerian court have no jurisdiction over him in respect of the case he's been charged for. The federal government went and, amended the charge sheet, came up again with other different ancillary issues which are not really connected to the Nnamdi Kanu's case. And he's making it very clear that he has not sent anyone to go and beg for him, that there are subsisting orders of the court which the federal government must obey, so that this plea for his release should not be misconstrued to mean clemency or some kind of pardon, when already existing the charge itself, have been flawed, and the court has already made orders that he be released. Okay, so whoever is going to make any expression for Nnamdi Kanu's release must do it the right way, must do it and I agree with him, absolutely. Must abide by the orders of court, must channel it through the fact that his right has been violated. From when it was rendition, the Supreme Court even said it that it was irresponsible for the army and whoever to go to his house when he was on bail. You know, and they went there and they destroyed the law and killed people, his parents and the rest of that, his relatives. Okay. Came back again. The extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria is illegal. All that have been stated, you know, and the case have been pruned to a point where it should be, and the court have asked that he be released. Okay, now release him. You have refused to release him up until now. What else again? What is his crime exactly? And this continuous violation of his fundamental rights, okay, is being viewed all over the world. Okay, we are being looked at as a lawless society because a society where the court will say, go and do this, and then the executive will come out and stand against it. It's not a country you want to come and invest. It's not a country that is politically stable or economically stable and strengthened, where court orders are disobeyed. It will be difficult for you to have investors coming just because you want to prove a point. You know, you are acting in that particular way. I think he should be released. That is the issue that is required. The government must release him. There's no point keeping him indefinitely. When you are not trying him, you don't have a case. You are not moving forward. You're not moving backward. So that case is haunted, and it should be released with immediate effect.
Yes, we understand that the federal government, of course, is abusing the rights of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But you will equally agree with me that it is within the right of any nation to hold on to a particular case, most importantly, if the person in concern is of interest, to the nation. So don't you think the federal government has the right to keep Nnamdi Kanu as much as they want to, knowing that his release might be catastrophic to the nation?
The federal government have no right whatsoever under the law. When a court has made an order, the federal government have no right. The federal government is a party in the suit. The federal government, just like any other party in litigation. And when a court has made an order to defend that an act, you know, has made an order that a particular thing be done, every litigant is expected under the law to abide by government or no government. So you are the one who is classifying you as a person of interest. Even if the state does that, classifying as a person of interest, and the court have said person of interest or no person of interest, release him. You must release him. Because if the federal government refuses to release him, then the federal government is working against its own institution. The judiciary is the branch of the federal government. Okay? And that particular branch of the federal government have looked into the case and have said, release him. You know, every person is presumed innocent until the contrary is proven. It doesn't matter whatever the person has committed in the past.
Yeah.
If the judicial says release him, you must release him. There's no country where it's sitting on it. A country. That's a country that disrespects her institutions. And when you have a country that disrespects her institutions, you don't expect outsiders to come and invest in that soil, in that ground, because you have messed it up by your own iniquities. So it's not a question of what he will become when he's released or whatever. It's about the court order that must be obeyed, irrespective of who's involved.
Yes, I understand that the court orders, of course, must be obeyed. And just like you said, the federal government is a party in the suit under reference. But a situation where the person that we are talking about is adamant, the plea to him is for him to change a course, to change his directive on what he believes in. But he is adamant on that particular course. on succession, on the rights to freedom of a particular area in Nigeria. But speak to us on this issue. I think we have a little bit of a glitch here. It's still Enterprise Morning. We just lost Barrister Vanso Feli. I hope he'll join very soon. And of course, we're still talking about the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. And he is saying that no one should beg for him. It's still Enterprise Morning. I'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere.
Enterprise TV, your one-stop shop for news, programs, human angle stories, the economy, sports, and much more. We go the extra mile to bring incredible details to you. So hop on the train now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Thank you so very much for being here. It's still Enterprise Morning, and I still have with me Barrister Vanso Feli. Barrister, we were speaking about the Nnamdi Kanu issue, and I was asking. I understand the fact that the federal government is a party in the suit, but on the issue of the person on that reference being adamant on pursuing his cause, which is anti the Constitution, how do you think the federal government should go about dealing with this issue? That's the first question. The second one is, what is the place of executive order and the presidential power in Nigeria on this particular issue?
Yeah, the Nnamdi Kanu's agitation is not anti-constitution. It's just the method deployed. Okay, the method deployed because we have the African Charter on Women and People's Rights and sections 23, 24, and 22 actually what can be done in the event that a group of persons or a section or a region want to succeed. And that law is part of the legislation of this country. So it should have come under that law to ask for that secession. So perhaps the methodology is what we will quarrel with, okay? But that aside, talking about the effect of executive order, first of all, the Nigerian Constitution does not recognize executive order. This is what was copied from America, okay? Our Constitution does not give any room for an executive order. Buhari tried it, on the issue of the local government autonomy. He used an executive order to try to effect it, okay, to effect that change. And the court ruled that you cannot use an executive order to amend the Constitution. That if you want to do any of that, you first of all need to amend the Constitution before you proceed. Okay? Now, this current government decided to go to court on the issue, and the court made a pronouncement, and the pronouncement of the court is law. So in that way, you cannot do what you are expected to do. Okay, so the executive order issue is just a pronouncement made by the executive, asking that a particular thing be done in a particular way. If that particular thing you are asking to be done in a particular way in that executive order violates the Constitution or is at variance with the Constitution, then the Constitution will prevail. That executive order will go to no issue. You understand? So, whatever it is they have passed against Nnamdi Kanu that have made them to just keep him indefinitely, it's against our laws. Okay? You cannot keep a man indefinitely, just like that, even when court have made clear orders that are not ambiguous as to his fate. Okay, you need to show that you are a democratic state at all ramifications, not only when it's convenient. You have to do that when it's convenient and when it's not convenient. You understand? The interests of Nigeria should supersede every other consideration. And it should be made, Nigeria should be made as a country that respects law and order. Now, if it has institutions that have made, orders and regulations, those orders, the state itself must first of all be the protector and the one that should preserve those orders before they can have the moral rectitude and justification to ask every other person to abide by law. So the federal government itself is violating laws. What moral right does it have to tell citizens not to violate the law?
Now, you talked on the interest of Nigeria superseding every other secondary intention. Now, let me read out the reason federal government is given to holding Nnamdi Kanu back. And it states here that FG, that the federal government, in an affidavit it filed in support of its application to stay the execution of the judgment, described Kanu as a flight risk person, insisting that the case against him borders on national security, and relying on the decided case law in Federal Republic of Nigeria versus Asari Dokubo. Federal government argued that once a case touched on national security, the right of the individual affected takes secondary place. So don't you think the federal government knows what it is doing, and of course is
no, that is a federal government. That is a federal government argument in a counter affidavit to a bail application filed by the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu. That is the federal government's counter affidavit and their argument. However, the court turned down that argument. That fundamental right, okay, a man's fundamental right is as critical as any kind of argument. And that violating a man's right consistently, okay, at will, is also a risk. It's also a national risk, okay? When people's rights are violated consistently, it's also a risk. So that argument was put forth, supported with that case, and the court still turned it down that it is a bigger and better argument that a man's right should not be violated under any circumstance. Okay? And that right was granted bail. It was asked to go. It was asked to be allowed. The court did not say the case should be dismissed. The court is saying release him. Okay, when you release him, he can be coming from his house with the case. After all, he was released before he was on bail. It was the federal government that went to raid his house while he was on bail and sent him on exile. Okay? So why should you not release him? When you released him before, did he jump bail? No. It is the federal government itself that's a flight risk. Yes, because they are the ones who, when he was on bail, deployed soldiers to go and raid his home. So he never left the country while he was on that trial. He never left the country while he was on that trial. But when these people went there, that was when he had to, they forced him out of his place of abode. What would he have done? These arguments they keep pushing forth. It's not the right thing. Today is Nnamdi Kanu, tomorrow it can be another person. But once we have laid down wrong precedents, it can fall on anybody at any time, and it is unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate. Just my last question to you. What do you think could be the best way forward legally? His team of lawyers, what do you think could be the best bet at this point that they can follow legally to ensure that the federal government, which of course had held on to its guns, might maybe slow down on that? Is there any way, is there a lacuna that can be employed in this particular case as it stands?
They have done what they ought to have done. That was to apply for his bail, okay? And they said bail has been granted by the court. Okay, now what they ought to do is to keep talking about it, keep it in the media, make it a consistent story, have what press conferences to ventilate, and possibly peaceful protests. When all these are done, one way or the other, and then continue with the political solution. But some negotiations will come from a place of strength, not a place of weakness, just like Nnamdi Kanu himself have said. Don't go begging for me, because this begging might misconstrue the fact of the case. Might mean you are begging for clemency, you are begging for pardon and the rest of that. Go tell them that a court of competent jurisdiction has ordered for my release, and so that the federal government should comply with the orders of court. And that is the best approach. That's how to put it, and not the other way around.
Very, very true. And of course, just like we know in Nigeria, we know how to, copy and paste issues. But others would wonder why the United States has still not been able to show good example with the issue of Julian Assange case, and why they have still held on to the fact that he will be, or he should be, extradited to the United States to face the crimes of course, publishing very sensitive issues. So do you think this is becoming a popular thing amongst nations to go against the laws, just like Nigeria is equally doing?
WikiLeaks.
Yes, the WikiLeaks.
In the case of Julian Assange, is there any subsisting court order that he be released? There's none. There's none. So the two cases are different. Okay, one borders on a very different issue. The other borders on a human rights issue, where a court have made a proclamation that he be released. There's no such in the case of Julian Assange. So it's not a very viable comparison, as it were, because the cases are quite very different and the circumstances are different.
Very true. All right, that's just where we would let it run out for now. Thank you so very much, Barrister Vanso Feli, for being here with us. We really do appreciate you.
My pleasure.
All right. So that's just about the time we have for today on Enterprise Morning. Please do well to see us. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. And we would equally ask that you rewatch this if you may, anytime that you can. You can always see that at Enterprise TV 7 on YouTube and Facebook also. Equally, you might catch other stories related to this and more on different social media platforms tied to us. That is Enterprise TV 7. We'll see you tomorrow, of course, to do some more on Enterprise Morning right here on Enterprise Television. My name is Henry Gwebike. Thank you for watching. I'll see you. Bye-bye.